there's this saying that you don't want to ever work with dogs or kids in filmmaking. Well, Conrad over here has been working with kids as filmmakers. All right.
Yeah.
Is the saying true? Is it harder to work with kids, or is the kids like, maybe it's the adults are the problem? The kids are awesome.
No, the kids are awesome, and adults typically are the problem.
All right.
Just kidding. No, that's not really the case. But adults are great too. But as a kid, when I was a kid, like I loved making movies. I grew up with 4 brothers. We had a lot of friends. We grew up in LA, and my brother was 6 years older than me. And so when we got a camera, we were shooting all the time. So we have a bunch of movies from when I was a little kid that were cut on an old Sony tape camera, you know?
Nice.
And our editing process was basically to pause and do the next scene, pause and do the next scene. And if it didn't work, go backwards, go backwards, go backwards.
That's right.
And that's basically how we would make our movies. And it's funny, though, because they're all shots are like unique and interesting. Our sound was atrocious because we didn't, have all that. But as I grew older, I started working in the film industry, and I figured like, hey, I was in Slick program, and I was making short films all over the place. And I just figured, I have all this equipment. Married a teacher, got into a comic book club and said, hey, comic book club kids, you want to try making a movie? And they said, yeah. And so we started rigging the camera out with them, and we started shooting random scenes. And I was like, oh my gosh, these kids can do this.
And now we have a group of some of those kids have submitted multiple films to the festival, and we have at least 4 in the festival this year.
Yes.
How old are these filmmakers?
These kids are in the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
Holy
and I find them in elementary schools in the Slick District. I currently work with the Slick District. Radgeekery is my company, and it's founded where rad kids get to make rad movies. And all of our movies turn out to be rad, and it's made, every class has around 20 to 22 kids. Some have 12 kids, some have 14 kids. But I go from school to school, and within like an 8-week period, they learn and then make a short film.
Let's talk about that experience. Normally, I hear adults complain that they don't have enough money and resources to make their movies. How does that magically change when you're younger?
I went in with this with like 15 years worth of equipment. When I first started shooting with the kids, I had a lot of leftover stuff and I needed to use it. I was a PE teacher actually for like 7 years. And that's where I generated a lot of how to work with children and how to understand them and which grades can do, filmmaking. There's definitely a big gap between 3rd and 4th. That's how I saw it. And so, the money was just money I've spent all throughout the past. And these kids, they don't have to really worry about that part. I entrust them to all of the equipment. They rig everything out. I don't do any of it. The gaffers gaff. Everybody's doing their job. The directors are directing. And when the production is going, it's just me basically rounding them up and pointing them in the right direction is all.
That's amazing.
Everyone else does their job, though.
So who's coming up with these stories then?
The kids. We actually have, like in the first 4 weeks, it's instruction and the story and practice. So we practice every lesson, building. We shoot random stuff all the time, so that when we get to the film, it's good. But we also have like we do a 30-second elevator pitch. All the kids get the pitch. They all come up. We vote. Learned that from a professor of mine. One of them.
A while back?
Yeah, a while back.
A hot minute ago?
A hot minute ago. I learned a few things from you too. But we'll get to that. But I like to and so they give those pitches, we vote. Sometimes we vote on one idea and it's perfect all the way through. Sometimes it's a little wacky. We take 3 or 4 ideas, we slap them together. That's how Mute was made. And that's kind of how it goes. And so we table it. And once we figure out an idea, we talk about it, we discuss the story, and then I write a script in like a week, and then I give it to all the kids. We table read it, and changes are made with all the kids, and then we make a movie.
I feel a little emotional about it, honestly.
I get emotional every time I end a class for sure. It's crazy.
That's the coolest thing, because what we're seeing is you're taking these kids, who are typically told you can't do these things because you're so young, and you're empowering them to do a very grown-up things and telling a story that is honestly living out the dreams of people much older than they are, and they're able to do it now. They don't have to wait for permission.
No,
they don't have to
they're
wait.
accredited. It's crazy.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's what it was my whole goal in the first place. And getting back to learning from you, I remember in your production class, I think it was only like one class maybe then, but I was there, and you said you don't make a movie for no reason.
Right.
And I remember you saying that. And it was like, even if it's a junkyard backyard movie, or if it's a small ball movie, or if it's, one for fun.
That's right.
Put it out there. And so that's exactly what I did with these kids' movies. I do it. I've been doing it all the time. I've done probably around 23 of these, by the way. So like 23. But with Radgeekery official, it's 6. And there's 2 coming up, 3 more in the next session. So I'm making 3 movies at the same time, by the way, in one block of 2 months. It's crazy. Actually, it's really crazy. It's
amazing.
It's like 70 students.
I've got to know, do you have any students coming to Pitch Tank on Saturday?
I have, I think, a few students coming to the viewing. Yes. I'm hoping I have some come to the award ceremony. I understand that their families all come from different walks of life.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that we get a lot of students to show up to, obviously, and come to those things, because they are actually like magnificent. These students are so fun to work with. I have a blast with every.
I just gotta see them on the red carpet. I want to see the future film leaders of America.
Yeah,
right there.
One of the girls in my comic book club back in the day actually is into photography, and she's going into it now in college and all that too. So
amazing.
She was the camera wizard back in the day on my old Sony. So it's fun. This is fun to see him grow up too, I guess. Been doing it a while.
I've had some really good interviews over the last 2 days. This is the first time I've been able to chat with somebody who I really feel is making a big impact in people's lives forever.
I hope so.
This is something that we'll be able to, even if the kids don't go on to filmmaking, right? They've had an experience in their life where they were shown that if you can apply what you have been taught, if you can problem solve, if you can create anything.
That's a lot of problem solving for sure.
It is. And it's something that I think is a skill that, because when I'm not working in film, I work in mental health. It's one of those things that I find in mentally strong people, mentally resilient people. They've learned this problem solving skill at a young age.
Yeah.
So not only are you teaching them how to make movies, you're teaching them how to be prepared for life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get ecstatic every time I see them start to just pick up the equipment. It's on the first day. They're holding everything, because I got to teach them how to not drop things.
That's important.
Yeah, Mark Davis did that with me, though. Taught us how to not drop things. We did. I love that guy, too. I emulate him a lot, so... And this way, he's good. It works quite a bit. So it's fun, though, to move on in that teaching world and be able to do this. I mean, I love it so much. The kids are so much fun. They're all awesome. That's made for every type of kid. It doesn't matter where you come from or who you are. Like, when you come to this class, it turns into this weird anomaly of creativity and STEAM or STEM, or it's like the most ultimate thing. These kids are pulling focus. They're doing all these weird things. The sound, when they put on headphones and they get a hold of the sound, they feel like spies. They're like looking around, and they're like, their eyes widen up. You see the whites of their eyes. They're like, I can hear everything. You could see them like just drill into the world of sound. Like, there's so many times when you see and you feel like so good about what's happening around you that I just sit there and I giggle. Like, I giggle all the time at these kids. I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, that kid looks like I could see like the 30-something-year-old like film person right there. He's there. The way he looked at the camera for the first time and was like, I'm going to put that.
You're kind of like a drug dealer in this way. You got to be careful, because you just got all hooked on the filmmaking drug.
Yeah, well, I preface it with its storytelling. I said, you find your way to tell a story. Stories are the most important way. I said, this is my favorite way to create stories. This is the way you're going to learn how to create a really cool story. But if it's comics, if it's graphic novels, if it's books, stories, what I drive into the kids.
Perfect.
And then the best part is when we get to that assembly, and not only do the kids in the whole school get to watch it with the parents and teachers and faculty, you're sitting there with your students that have no idea what's coming. Like that chaos that just happened. They know they shot stuff, but they just don't know what's coming. And then they get to see it too. And they're just like,
that's amazing.
You said that was going to be there and it's there, you know, like you get all these kids just like wigging out, you know. I have a lot of fun stories from those nights. I actually just got a student too, by the way, who was at one of the first Radgeekery films, which actually isn't in this film festival. It's called The New Girl. And it was shot at Benyon Elementary, which is now closed in Salt Lake. And so all the kids were moved around. And my class yesterday, I started teaching, and there was a little fourth grader in there who was in the second grade when she watched their film from Radgeekery at Benyon. And now she's in my class, and she's like stoked.
That is awesome.
She was like watching the movie in the class, and she was naming all the students in the movie. She can remember every little bit that happened there. It was super cool. So now she's in my class, and so...
How do people get to be involved in your class?
So it goes from school to school. I'm only one person. That's kind of the hardest part about my business is I'm doing a lot.
Yes.
And the more schools I get, the more it becomes, you know, obviously. I've maxed out at 3 films at the same time, but it goes in the Slick District. I'm at a rotation of 7 schools right now a year, with summer programming on the way. So I'll be doing some summer stuff, hopefully here soon at possibly the University of Utah or anywhere else.
That's amazing.
But I might also just be shooting some of my own stuff in the summer too. That's the glory of the school year, right?
There's a little sire off some
your stuff, whatever you want to do done. But I work around 7 schools right now. I can max out at about 9. And as soon as I max out, that's when I want to grow. So that's kind of where Radgeekery can kind of spread its wings by that. No, by the way, these shirts are the things the kids get too. Oh, this is a zombie cat.
That sells right from there.
It comes from the dead cat in the film industry. We made a zombie cat after the dead cat.
Anyway, hilarious.
And each one, so the kids, when they get a job in my program, they get a shirt. I give them a shirt. And the zombie cat, this is the camera cat, as you can see. He's got the camera, but there's a director cat, there's a gaffer cat, there's all the different types of cats. And they get one of these fun little shirts.
Take a look at that. Look at that. That is the coolest
I
shirt.
designed this guy.
That's a great design.
Yeah. But they get these shirts and they get to, wear them or staple them to their walls or whatever they want to do.
I want some shirts like this.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, but the goal is like if you come in the 4th grade and you come every year, you can get like 3 of the 5 shirts, you know?
You can almost have your
I call them level 2 kids once they get to the 2nd level. If they come a second, I'm like, you're a level 2 kid.
There you go.
So level 3, haven't gotten there yet, but I'm pretty sure I will. So
this is the coolest thing I've heard.
It's fun. I have a lot of fun. My wife is a 3rd grade teacher. We've been like a teaching power couple for a long time, and this is just where I wanted to land, you know?
Man, you're living the dream.
Yeah, I am. It's fun.
That's so dang cool.
It's a good time.
Well, guys, if you want to talk to Conrad, you got to come down to the Utah Film Festival, or you got to be in 4th or 6th grade.
4th or 6th grade.
And you have to be
in the Slick District.
In the Slick District.
Yeah.
And then you can go ahead and dig all part in the Radgeekery and get a really cool shirt.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got some more great filmmakers lined up here at the Utah International Film Festival. Keep watching.